Deputy Speaker. This is a nothing has changed budget from an out-of-touch government enabled by members opposite who have no idea of the reality of people's lives. In the midst of it all, we've seen a battle between the SNP and the Scottish Conservatives as they fight to claim credit for the Chancellor's climb down on VAT charges imposed on Scotland's emergency services. As ever, the reality has been lost in the performance that's been playing out between them. I thought for a moment earlier the Honourable Member for Dundee East might break into song in his praise of the Scottish Government, but of course he failed to mention that growth in Scotland is even lower than it is in the UK. And the whole situation with VAT could have been avoided if the SNP had listened to Unison's advice at the time. But of course that's not to let the UK Government off the hook, least of all on VAT. It was wrong to impose charges on Scotland's emergency services, and the Chancellor has admitted that with this budget. I must say it says very little about the persuasive powers of the current Secretary of State for Scotland that it seemingly took the election of 12 new Scottish Tory MPs to convince the Chancellor to introduce the exemption. Perhaps the new intake will bend the Chancellor's ear once more and use their newfound influence to get back the £140 million that has already been paid in VAT by Scotland's police and fire services. Surely, if it is wrong to pay it in 2018, it has been wrong to pay it all along. And if that money is refunded to the Scottish Government, I hope it will be ring-fenced, because I know my constituents don't want to have to repeat the successful local campaigns they had to launch to save police stations in Rutherglen, Cambuslang and Blantyre from the threat of closure. That additional funding for emergency services is much needed. The budget also failed to address the misery that is being caused by this government's social security programme. The move from an initial 6-week wait to a 5-week wait for universal credit payment will be cold comfort to the people contacting my office in desperate need of help. Some of them are telling my staff that they feel suicidal because this government is driving them into debt and they have nowhere else to turn. What must it be like to spend Christmas worrying about whether you will have a roof over your head or food to put on the table? Here is an opportunity for the Government to get two things right amidst this woeful budget. Backdate the VAT refund for the Scottish emergency services and pause the rollout to fix universal credit.
Twist.